Well, the team is Day One Studios, and they're located in Chicago. And they just basically came to us with an idea. They came to us and they said, we want to do something that really feels next generation. And we've got this idea of, genetics versus cybernetics. And we said, this is really, really cool. What else can you give us? And then they went back and they had this idea bubbling in their heads, and they weren't really sure how they were going to pull it off. And so when they came back to us and said, well, what if you could raise and lower the terrain at will, we were like, that sounds great. That really moves the genre forward. I mean, terrain deformation can be used for offensive strategy. So for example, you have an enemy who is near you and maybe you're trying to conserve bullets. So maybe the quickest thing you could do is entrench under their feet and maybe create a hill, which is going to shoot them in the air from the force. So they go flying up in the air. You have a little bit of time, to conserve your ammo, and then maybe you can come up to them and just, melee attack them or something. It's been a huge challenge. It's the perfect question. It has been a challenge because usually a designer for a shooter is used to being able to really, really well choreograph the way that an encounter can take place. There are a lot of open world games, but in this game, it's not really an open world, it's more like an open landscape. Because there are a million ways you can approach every situation. You can approach it from, like a sort of a wide perspective where you can kind of make use of the whole battlefield and just kind of advance, sideways across it, or you can use terrain deformation to actually get up high to higher places. And then in terms of engineering, the AIs themselves have to be smart enough to still pathfind and still make their way around levels, understand where cover is, understand where cover is not. Fracture is a great single-player game, really, really fun, just a great ride from start to finish, and the multiplayer is just amazing too. The single-player game allows you to really get a handle on your tools for terrain deformation, and it gives you a great introduction to all of the weapons. And then when you add in the multiplayer component and everything that you can do, everything you've practiced against the AIs, here are your guys who are literally ripping the ground out from under you and, completely changing your strategy at every minute. Your friends next to you, you guys all have entrenchers. It's really going to add a completely new dimension to multiplayer, something that people have never seen before. Yeah, so the ice rifle is this really cool weapon that you encounter in the second act of the game, and it's kind of this weird, like Area 51 style place where weird experiments are going on. And so you enter this area where you're just completely overwhelmed with turrets and all kinds of bad guys and these crazy weird guys who can only be killed with headshots, and you just really don't know what to do, and they're just constantly barraging you. And you find this ice rifle, which basically allows you to create cover and then freeze it so that no one can touch it, no one can tear it down. But it's really, really, really fun to also use your ice rifle to shoot guys and then watch their cute little frozen positions, and then melee them or shoot them and watch them shatter. That's really, really fun too. So we take the game to focus testing. Unprompted, people were saying this is a reason to buy a next-gen console. So people are getting it, even people who aren't in the industry, even people who aren't really hardcore people are seeing that this is really an innovation and really a step forward for shooters.